Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking through some of the books that I picked up in the past couple of months. So a little book haul. I've been trying to do these more regularly so that there's just a few in each book haul and they're not too overwhelming, although I am overwhelmed with the number of books still, and I feel like whatever I do, I can't get my physical TBR down and I just want to buy more books, and so more books just get acquired, and here we are. So I have quite a few of these I have not read, so success, not success at all for me. So to start off, two of them that I have read, I picked up both Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Both of these I have thoroughly enjoyed, really loved them both, and just thought I would pick them up and add them to my collection. I read both of these as ebooks, so Beach Read as an ebook I bought myself, and You and Me on Vacation, or People We Meet on Vacation, as an ARC on NetGalley. And I've since also read her newest release, Book Lovers, so I know that I really like these. These are some of my favourite romances, and I went into The Works, which is a UK discount store. Like, they have a selection of books, they have puzzles, they have arts and crafts, they have random things, and it's very hit and miss with The Works. It really is very hit and miss. You can get some good stuff, you can get some not good stuff, and their book selection is very generally a miss. Generally you have lots of, like, I don't know, books that are not my taste. There's generally lots of thrillers and romances that seem sort of more like historical, I don't know, I don't even know what they are, like this sort of thing. Don't know how you describe that, but this thing. So when I went in there the other day, they had this massive selection of romance books that I have really loved and enjoyed, that I'm really interested in, and I was like, oh wow, so much romance. And they're all really cheap generally, so I think I picked both of these up for £5 each, and these were on the more expensive side. Some were like £3, some were £2, like there was a lot of choice. So if you're in the UK and you want some romance books, then I'd recommend going to The Works, because they seem to have a good selection as of right now. These are the two that I went for. So examples of what they had is that they had Emily Henry, they had like Colleen Hoover, they had Sally Thorne, they had Taylor Jenkins Reid, they had like the Spanish Love Deception, the Love Hypothesis. They had all the sort of quite hyped books were in that selection of romances. So this is what I picked up, and thankfully I've already read these two, so these just went straight onto my red shelves and not the TBR shelves. I then have a whole video where I went book shopping in London, and I took you along with me, and I picked up some books during my journey through the bookshelves and the bookshops. So if you want to see that video, then I will link it, and you can see the different bookshops that I went to, some sights of London, and then also the haul of books that I picked up then. So if you don't want any spoilers, go and watch that now and then come back. But if you've already seen that, then I picked up 4 books from that journey. So I picked up A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair and Neon Gods by Katie Roberts, as sort of like a Hades Persephone theme that I thought I could try out, and see how these compare, and also Lore Olympus, which I already own, and see who does Hades Persephone best, because who knows, I don't currently. So both of these, and I think these are more modern setting, Hades Persephone retelling, both very hyped on TikTok. Fantasy, romance, probably a lot more romantic than fantasy. But I imagine that these would be very fast read, that I would absolutely binge them, that I feel like these would be sort of candy floss books where I have fun whilst I'm reading them, really enjoy them, but I don't know if I would rate them really highly in terms of literature. But that depends on your mood, what you're after. Like, sometimes you really want something that's more gets your mind working, and sometimes you just need something that is going to entertain you. So I think these are going to be entertaining. So I picked up both of these. I also picked up The Blood Trials by Annie Davenport. This is a new fantasy duology release, which I've seen Beautifully Bookish Bethany talking about. And although it's got a very YA cover, I believe this is actually quite adult and it's quite dark, and it has been compared to Red Rising, which does make me a bit more nervous about picking it up, because I wasn't a massive fan of Red Rising, but I hope that it will be a hit. There's nothing in Red Rising that I should dislike. Like the theory of that book, the theory of that whole series, I should like. On paper, I should like it. However ironic that sounds, on paper I should like Red Rising, but in actual practice of reading it, I didn't enjoy it, and I think that was the writing style, and hopefully Even if the themes are similar, the writing style I would prefer in this. In this, you're following a main character, Ikenna, and at the beginning of the book, I believe her grandfather has been murdered, and she enters into the Republic's deadly elite military force, where she is trying to get into these gladiatorial war games at the heart of the martial world, trials that will lead her closer to his killers. So she's trying to find them and seek her revenge. But she also has a secret, and that is that she has blood magic, and that is banned in the Empire, and anyone that has it is killed. So there we go. That's that. I've heard it's brutal, and I like brutalness within my books. I do not want it in my real life, but within a book, a brutal setting, brutal themes, I will enjoy it, hopefully. And then the final book that I picked up during that book shopping vlog was The Wall of Storms by Ken Liu, the second book in the Dandelion Dynasty. I read and quite liked The Grace of Kings by him in March. I didn't like it as much as I was anticipating to. I was like, this is going to be 5 stars, I'm going to love it, because I'd really, really thoroughly enjoyed The Paper Menagerie by him. But The Grace of Kings, I gave like a 3.5 stars, so I really liked it. It is set in an Asian-inspired fantasy, leading very historical world. It's very political, very battle-heavy, and you follow these characters, the warring factions within this world, following the death of the Emperor and the shift in dynamic and the shift in power as different factions try to take control. So that's like the setup for it, and then you follow these different characters throughout this world. This one, I've heard it breaks away, I believe, from the actual history. Like, the first book is set up as more of a prologue where you're following more of like the historical setting for the world, and then this one is more like actual story, and less history or like history telling of the world. So I'm really interested to see how this goes. This is a lot thicker than I anticipated it was going to be, being 850 or whatever pages, but I'm really hoping this is going to be the 5-star that I thought The Grace of Kings was going to be. I really hope it is. Right, so those are all the books that I picked up during that come book shopping with me and that whole video. So now a few other ones that have just randomly come into my life. I have an arc of A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandra Rowland. This comes out on the 23rd of June. I doubt I will get to this by the 23rd of June. This book just came randomly into my life. I went to an event for Olivia Blake in London. I think I can put a clip in of that event. And as part of the event, you got given a goodie bag. And this was a book that the publisher was giving away within the goodie bag. So I wouldn't have actively chosen for it to come into my life, but now it is here. So yeah, I believe that this is a bodyguard prince romance. The prince has had an attempt on his life, and so he is investigating who was trying to murder him and the situation there and the growing threat upon his life. And I assume there is going to be some romantic interest or romantic scenes between him and his bodyguard, or things go down the romantic route. I don't know how much this leans on, 1, the romance, 2, the murder, mystery, that plot, or 3, the fantasy, because it's obviously combining all 3 of those elements. And I just wonder which one it sort of leans on more, because I generally am not that interested in a murder mystery plotline, even though a failed assassination attempt. Or I think I'm more interested in seeing what other people's reviews are of this before I dive in myself. But I do think this is a very pretty arc, and it was nice to find it in the goodie bag. I was like, I'm not going to say no, it's a book. A sequel that I picked up, and I'm actually... Oh, juddery, what happened there? Dunno. I didn't even knock it. Okay, a sequel that I picked up that I'm currently reading is The Queen of the Unwanted by Jenna Glass, the second book in the Women's War series. So I read The Women's War back in March when I started all these series, and I am now trying to work my way through them. So this is the second installment. I am doing quite well. I am just over 200 pages in, and this is 570 pages, so making progress. This book has been in the unfortunate position that I started it, and then I didn't read for a week, and then I've now come back to it, and now I'm back into reading it. So it has had that slight unfortunate thing where I read the first 100 pages and then I took an unplanned pause. But I am enjoying this. The Women's War is set in this world where women have very little power and very little agency, and at the beginning of the book there is a catalyst which changes the structure of magic within the world, and suddenly women do have more agency and more power. And this catalyst has then thrust different people into power. So within one kingdom, or now queendom, you are following this queen who, following the deaths of all her family, has suddenly got power and is suddenly in control and is trying to control her council. You are following Elise, who is a mother within this world, and her struggles with raising her family, and the situation that this catalyst has put her into, and then also like other parts of the ruling family. So it's very political, really, really political, which I really enjoy. The magic in this world is like centered around your gender. So you have magic that men can access, and then magic that women can access, and then some that both genders can access. And I find that really interesting, but I feel like I want a little bit more. Like I want Brandon Sanderson as though to tell me this. Like I want every single detail of how this works, because I'm like, but how does it work? Like, tell me how it works. I mean, she definitely does. Like, there is definitely exploration of how the magic works, but I just want more. I want to understand more about the gendered magic system. So overall, I'm enjoying where this is going. The first 200 pages, I feel like we're setting up for quite a few things and like preparing. It's been quite political so far for these first 200 pages as events from the first book continue into this one. I have like a theory that I've had a theory since like the end of the first book, and I've got this theory and I'm like, is it going to be correct? Is it going to be correct? And things keep pointing to it not being correct, and I'm like, but please let it be correct. So we will see. Probably by the time I upload this, I might have already finished this by now, so I will know. Future self will know if my theory is correct. But overall, I am enjoying this, and this isn't a wrap-up because I've literally just hauled it. And then the final 2 books that I have are the Fairyloot Adult books for the months of April and May. So April I have unboxed, but I did film some of me unboxing it, so I'll try and like input that in instead of me holding the book up now. And the book is The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. So this is a book that I've been really interested to read, and I do quite like this edition. I am a bit like intrigued as to why they're taking quite more darker books which have traditionally a darker cover and they're just making them white. But I do really like the under the dust jacket gold foiled bit of the book. Like I think that's really pretty and really well done. So the 4 realms, life, death, light and darkness, all converge on the City of Dusk, ruled by the 4 noble houses of Nexus. But the gods have withdrawn their favour from the once vibrant and thriving city, and without it all the realms are dying. Unwilling to stand by and watch the destruction, the 4 heirs, Risha, a necromancer, struggling to keep the peace, Angelica, an elementalist with her eyes set on the throne, Taisia, a shadow-wielding rogue with a rebellion in her heart, and Nick, a soldier who struggles to see the light, will sacrifice everything to save the city, but their defiance will cost them dearly. So we shall see. I've heard that this one can be a little bit confusing to begin with, or there's lots to keep track of, lots of characters, lots of world building, but I feel like this is going to be right up my street. I'm really excited to get into this, and fingers crossed it is a hit. Okay, and then just this morning, my May Fairyloot box arrived, so I have it here ready to unbox for you and show off. So this one can actually be an unboxing because it's worked out that it's arrived on the day of the filming day, which is coincidental because that doesn't normally happen. Like normally I'll just unbox it as soon as it arrives, but here we are. I just went to pick this up. There we go, like I did. And all you can see is the inside bits. Nothing exciting. Okay. So the theme for this month is Into the Shadows. I know what the book is, but there it is, Into the Shadows. And then the book. I mean, does it really differ that much? Like, does it really differ? How does this compare to the original one? Is the original one blue? Like, is it that different? I don't know. Okay. Well, I like black sprayed edges. Okay. So this is The Book of Night by Holly Black, and she's very thin. I knew before this arrived that it was going to be thin, but it's still disappointing. Like, I don't know, as an epic fantasy reader, when I see a book that's only 300 pages, that's epic adult fantasy, and I'm like, but where's the extra like 200 pages? So let's see what the rest of this is like. Okay, I like this. I like this. Interesting, like, material. Oh, There'd always been something wrong with Charlie Hall, crooked from the day she was born, never met a bad decision she wasn't willing to double down on. Had fingers made for picking pockets, a tongue for lying, and a shriveled cherry pit for a heart. Okay, so I mean, again, I like the hardback. But this is a weird material. It is a weird material. But yeah, there we go. That's like a normal book material. This is like weird. It's almost plasticky. Weird. It's weird. It's not like whatever this material is. I don't know. I'm not in book publishing, obviously. I'm in the travel industry, not book publishing. But okay. I mean, yeah. My first thought was that, oh my god, Alan would hate this because he's leaning and he looks very broody, really broody and leaning. I don't really know how I feel about this one. Like, how much does it differ? I'm gonna have to go away and have a look at like what the original cover of Book of Night looks like, because I don't really feel too wowed by it, which is disappointing. Okay, yeah, I was right that they haven't really changed the cover. They've just made it all black instead of the slightly like bluer tint, the very dark navy blue. I actually think the Waterstones one is prettier because the Waterstones one has like stenciled edges instead of just pure black. I don't know, it just doesn't seem as good as the previous ones. And I mean, I believe this is quite like more YA than an adult. I mean, I know it's marketed as adult. I think maybe my issue is I think I would have preferred to have got The Stardust Thief, which is a book I'm really interested in, which is an adult book, which they've gone and put in the YA box. Who knows why they've done that? And then this book, which I think would have definitely appealed to the YA audience, because YA audience already reads Holly Black, should have gone in the YA box. I don't know. Is it worth my money? Is this worth my money? I don't know right now. I mean, I haven't read two of the books. I've read the Atlas 6 and I liked it. There's liking the book and then there's also like liking the edition, because I feel like for all of these, there have been nice editions that I could have got without a subscription. Like, is it worth my money to get these specific editions of these books? Or could I have just had like, well, I already had the self-published edition of this one. Although I think this one is quite pretty, I do think, again, the Waterstones one is the prettiest. Like with this, I think the Waterstones one is prettier and it's cheaper. And this one, I do like this edition, but I don't have any complaints about the normal edition either. So I feel like I've got some mixed feelings on this so far. Also, this one, I do like the ribbon bookmark. I do love a ribbon bookmark on the City of Dusk. I think they need to up their game. And I think they need to go for some more like adult books. I get it. Like, when you're called Fairyloot and you've been selling YA for so long, your audience is going to be YA, and so when you say you're launching adult, you're probably going to try and pull from the same market as the YA box that you're already selling. But these all seem quite crossover-y. City of Dusk I don't really know because I haven't read it and I don't know how much it leans adult. I feel as though none of these fit like epic adult fantasy. Well, City of Dusk's TBC. I don't know. Like, I've already paused my subscription for June because I'm not interested in the book. So I won't be getting that one anyway. We shall see if I keep going with this, if I feel like it's worth my money or not, or if I just keep getting pretty editions from Waterstones or any other place. What do you think? Are these worth it? The only point in me having the subscription is if I'm going to read the books anyway. So I was interested in all these books and I would have like got these books anyway, whether I paid for them like this or if I got them as a standard edition. Like, I would have got all three of these books anyway, which is why I decided not to get June, because I was like, well, I wasn't interested in that book anyway, so why should I pay extra for it? The only point in getting the subscription is if I'm going to read the book. So I feel like that's a bit of a downer. We don't end on downers. I don't have another book to show you and be like, woo! Oh, Well, I guess it is what it is. It is what it is. And I don't mean to sound like ungrateful as well, because I know so many people want to be on the Fairyloot Adult subscription and they're not on it, and they want to be on it, and I'm on it, and I'm like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? We shall see. I mean, I'm thinking I need to actually like read these 2 books to determine if it's worth it, because if I read them and I don't like them, then that's like, it makes it even less worth it. But I think you have to judge it on more than just 3 books. You have to judge it on like a few and see how they do. I mean, this is a new subscription, like I can't judge it straight away. But anyway, that's a bit of a side tangent on adult Fairyloot and whether it's worth it or not. Let me know your thoughts on any of the books that I have bought, or your thoughts on the adult Fairyloot subscription, and if you think it's worth it or not, and if you've bought any books recently. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my future videos. Bye!